cool. So that's it for DMX. We have one more entertainment thing we want to talk about, and that is Fast and Furious, the ninth movie, F9, from the Fast Saga. I don't even know what the subtitle is for it, but the reason I want to talk about it is neither Zeus nor I have seen the trailer. Zeus and I actually, in one of our very early episodes, probably the one with the bad audio, we talked about how it seems Fast and Furious will eventually go to space. Well, it has.
Or at least it's still rumored, I guess, but they have a photo of apparently in this preview. They somehow pimped a car out to be a rocket ship, and Tyrese and Ludacris, their characters have spacesuits on.
Roman and
Roman and Trey? Trey? Todd.
Tesh. It's Tesh.
Thank you.
Yes. We got there eventually. Roman and Tesh.
So they got, yeah. So they're supposedly going to space. And then there's another rumor now. I hope this is make-believe, but supposedly they're not opposed to doing a cross franchise with Jurassic Park.
I mean, they just skipped over jumping the shark and just went straight to the dinosaurs, right? Like,
I'm like, yo,
like, well, go on.
Why? Like, you're a movie about guys stealing DVDs, and you turned into this.
So, I mean, the ultimate question here is, will you go see it in theaters?
No.
Okay.
I have, listen, for the moment, for quite a while, me going to movie theater will be one of those, I gotta watch this in the movie theater, i.e. Black Widow.
That was almost Wonder Woman for me, and then luckily I didn't.
Luckily you find out that Wonder you got that preview, and then you're like, oof.
Yeah. That was a close call.
So anyways, I don't want to say this joke. Somebody commented on Facebook.
Don't do it.
Paul.
Oh,
this is a very morbid joke. I apologize to anybody ahead of time if they're offended, but it was just one of those jokes where I'm just like, I shouldn't be laughing at that. That's just you're a piece of for making me laugh at this and saying it, and I'm for laughing at. But it was so Vin Diesel said that he feels as if Paul Walker.
Oh no.
Paul Walker told him to put John Cena in his movie.
Okay.
And then somebody on Facebook said, well, you can't see John Cena and I can't see Paul Walker, so it makes sense.
Oh, oh no. Well, I thought it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
It's not that bad, but still, it's still a little bit messed up.
That's all right. Yeah.
It's not that bad.
It's not too soon.
I'm not gonna lie, that was a pretty that was a whimsy joke.
Yeah, it's not too soon for that joke. I approve.
So quick question, honestly, about, because we want to at least have some minutes to talk about that. It was something that's so, I feel like it's so stupid that we have to talk about it, right? But what's your reaction to is it like, should they have, I feel like they should have ended, if they had ended it, I understand why they didn't end at 5. I think 5 is their peak. 5 is the best movie they had. I get why they didn't stop there.
Yeah.
Where do you think they should have stopped?
Okay, good question. So I think.
And are you gonna go watch this movie?
I think 5 was really good. I think so. 4 was like the soft reboots, right? That's the one that they just called Fast and Furious. I think 5 was really good. I think that was the one that was in Brazil, and it was like the bank heist or whatever. Oh, something like that.
The Rock was introduced.
Yes, I thought 6 was my favorite. 6 was really freaking good, and 6 was the first one I had seen in, actually the first one ever that I saw in theaters. I didn't see 5 in theaters. Yeah, 6 was the first one I saw in theaters, and because every other one I'd seen on DVD or I guess Blu-ray eventually. 6 was the first one I saw in theaters, and I absolutely loved it. It was such a bonkers movie. It was so ridiculous, you know. And my favorite line, "It's not a plane, it's a planet," from Tyrese. So I absolutely loved it. I thought 7 was a bit of a drag. But then 7 was also the Paul Walker send off, and that's the
Yeah.
one that made like $1 billion because everyone wanted to see how they're going to send up the character. And to be fair to them, I think they did a admirable
No, the
job.
tribute at the end of the movie was beautiful.
Yeah, the tribute at the end of the movie was beautiful. But I mean, I think they did an admirable job finishing Paul Walker's scenes using his brothers, and it never felt too jarring as far as like the CGI and the face and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I thought they did a good job there. As a movie, I didn't think it was that great. I thought you could see you could
Decline.
see the decline. Thank you in quality. I did not see 8 in theaters. I meant to, and I just kept pushing it up, and I never saw it in theaters. I actually saw Hobbs and Shaw, which came afterwards 1st, and then I saw 8. So I saw Hobbs and Shaw in theaters, and I thought, this is a good movie. This is where it needs to get back to. Because Hobbs and Shaw is ridiculous, but the kind of it's a little scaled back because you're not trying to service 9 different characters. It came back to like these 2 characters who are just button heads.
Oh, okay, you mean in that way? Because I was like, what do you mean it's scaled back? This
Yeah,
one is
oh,
like,
well, no, yeah, no, that was a lot. I mean, Idris
because I
Elba
was
was
like, that
Idris
crane
Elba was a super
scene
villain.
at the okay.
Yeah, Idris Elba was a super villain, all that stuff. But scaled back in that they're able to focus on the
It was just 2
characters.
characters.
Yeah, and I thought The Rock and Jason Statham were really funny together. There were a lot of things that didn't make sense in there, especially when you go back and finally watch 8, which I did. Because you're like, why are these guys hating each other again? But I really liked Hobbs and Shaw. So I went and watched 8, and I thought 8 is an even further decline from 7. I just didn't like, and I think it's like a perfect correlation. The crazier they go in the upward direction with their stunts, like driving on ice and the ice is like falling behind you, the worse the quality gets. Because there's a way to do these crazy things and make it fun, but I feel like they've hit that point of
Hobbs and Shaw
diminishing
did a good job. You're right.
Yeah.
Hobbs and Shaw did a better job at it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of ridiculousness, but it was camp. They were willing to be campy and accept the campiness, and you kind of feel like Vin Diesel wants to put dramatic work into this film and be like, put it a little
it's
more
about
serious than
family.
it is. But I'm like,
You know,
no,
yeah,
man.
exactly. You know, that's the perfect way to put it. I think The Rock and Jason Statham understand that this isn't, you're not supposed to take yourself seriously with this.
Thank Casablanca.
This ain't Casablanca. Yeah, this is a popcorn flick through and through. Whereas Vin Diesel is trying to be like, you know, this is his magnum opus. You know, this is Godfather 2. So and it comes through, and I don't know. I wasn't a fan of 8. And I probably wouldn't see 9 in theaters because of it. Now, if they do a sequel to Hobbs and Shaw, I probably will go to theaters to watch that. But hey, I really hope I'm wrong. I hope they find a way to actually make this, you know, palatable.
Yeah, I just don't get why the preview pretty much like the preview that I saw back in 2020 and January of 2020 before the pandemic hit, and you know, because it was about to be released. I looked at it and I was like, yo, why are y'all giving? Yeah, y'all must really pulled a lot of stock in the rest of your movie because you looks like you're giving away the whole entire movie. Because you know, Han comes back in the preview, like, and I'm like,
that should be like a big reveal, shouldn't it?
Right? Yeah. I'm like, what? Like, or at least do it like in the like do a preview, and then at the end he's like, I got somebody here, and then Han comes into the focus, and then you're like, what the hell? And now you want to go watch. You know what I mean? But like, you know, put him in the middle, like that's like, oh, look, he's been here this whole time, kind of thing. And then that ridiculous, like. I get what you're saying. Like, if you're gonna be doing a thing where you're jumping from what is it, like plateau to plateau?
Yeah, platform to platform. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're gonna be doing that, then cool. Let's keep it a puppet, but don't make it into like, oh, that's my brother, you know, and all that. All this other stuff. And,
exactly. Yes. You like you have this ridiculous tone, and you're trying to make it seem like it's something more than it is. So yeah, it's probably a rental for me. Probably will not be going to see it in theaters. And this would be like a months after it's out rental, like you know, $3. I wanted to touch on that trailer actually, the first one you were talking about. I think there's a problem we have now with movie studios who feel like it's more important to trend on Twitter than to preserve the integrity of the movie or of the movie viewing experience, right? Because part of that integrity is to go in and have some expectations, and then either get those subverted, or you're like, oh, I didn't expect it to get there in this way, but not to give away the whole thing. But there's certain movie studios who believe, hey, if we show some fancy thing in it, we might be trending on Twitter. Because I believe what was trending on Twitter was Han when that trailer dropped. It wasn't Fast and Furious, it was Han.
Yeah.
And I think that was the design of it, but that's at the expense of the movie itself. So they really need to get away from doing that. But anyway.
Yeah, and it's true what you said about them just trying to. You know who doesn't do that?
Marvel.
MCU.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah, they don't do that because they know they don't have to.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised that Universal feels like they have to. I was like, didn't your last two make $1 billion each?
Yeah.
Like, what is?
I remember the Infinity War trailer so well, and there was so little in it that you can glean from like, oh, what's gonna happen in the movie. But it was like a perfect trailer. I'm talking about the very first one, the very first.
No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, where they just show the different areas where they're gonna fight, but they don't give you much.
Perfect trailer.
Anyways, yeah. So that happened. Real quick before we leave from this, how? So one of my friend's fathers was like, it's kind of like Rocky. They have to end it. I was like, first of all, sir, the Rocky series only had one bad mistake, and that was Rocky 5.
Mm-hmm.
And they made up for it with Rocky Balboa and the Creed series. Now, I don't know how the Creed 3 is going to be. We'll see how that one works out.
Has that been confirmed? That there's going to be a 3?
Oh boy is recording it too. He's directing it.
Coogler?
No.
Because I know Coogler didn't direct the second. Oh, Michael B. Jordan is directing it.
He's directing it, and Rocky's not going to be in it. But Sylvester Stallone explained, I was like, well, that's because it's Creed's story now. It's not mine.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I appreciate
I kind of respect that. That's a handoff.
Yeah. There's no need to just force him in it if he doesn't have to be in it. So yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Fast and the Furious. We'll be still talking about this when Fast and the Furious 32 comes out.
Yes.
When they're fighting Jurassic Park in the Back in Time, and Marty McFly is there too.
Yeah, we'll be given our ratings of rental or theater viewing. Okay, cool. So